Have you ever felt your phone vibrate in your pocket during a meeting and known, absolutely known, that it was a text that would end your marriage? I have. 14 times in the last 6 months. 14 times I've sat across from my wife at our kitchen table or next to her in our car or beside her in bed and felt that buzz against my thigh knowing it was my boss asking when we could meet. Not for work. Never for work anymore. My name is Jason. I'm 34 years old, and for the past 18 months, I've been having an affair with my boss, Michelle. The same Michelle who shook my wife's hand at the company Christmas party and complimented her dress. The same Michelle who approved my wife's promotion 6 months ago. The same Michelle whose office is 3 floors above my wife's desk and whose body I know better than I know my own at this point. You want to know the worst part? It's not the lying, though I've become Olympic level at that. It's not the guilt, though that sits in my chest like a physical weight every single day. The worst part is that I work in the same building as my wife Lauren. We commute together, we have lunch in the same cafeteria, we attend the same meetings sometimes. And 3 times a week, while Lauren thinks I'm in budget reviews or client calls, I'm in Michelle's office with the door locked and the blinds drawn, betraying her in the most intimate way possible. I need to tell you how this started because I need someone to understand that I'm not a monster. Or maybe I am, and I just need to hear someone say it out loud. Either way, here's the truth in all its ugly detail. Lauren and I have been married for 9 years. We met in college, started dating junior year, got married right after graduation like we had it all figured out. For a long time we did. We were that couple everyone envied, matching Halloween costumes, inside jokes, finishing each other's sentences. We bought a house in the suburbs, adopted a dog named Cooper, talked about kids someday when the timing was right. 3 years ago, we both got hired at Meridian Tech, this mid-sized software company downtown. It seemed perfect at the time. We could carpool, save money, maybe even work on projects together. Lauren went into marketing, I went into operations. Different departments, different floors, different career tracks. We'd meet for lunch, compare notes about coworkers, laugh about the ridiculous corporate culture. It felt like we were playing house in the adult world together. Then, 2 years ago, I got promoted to Senior Operations Manager. My new boss was Michelle Chen, VP of Operations. 41 years old, divorced, no kids, and so fucking competent it was almost intimidating. She'd built the entire operations infrastructure from scratch, knew every system inside and out, could reduce a vendor to tears during contract negotiations. She was brilliant and terrifying, and I spent my first 3 months reporting to her, absolutely convinced she was going to fire me for incompetence. But she didn't. Instead, she started mentoring me. Extra one-on-ones to discuss strategy, coffee meetings before the office opened to review presentations, late nights when everyone else had gone home working through operational models and forecasts. She pushed me harder than anyone ever had, but she also made me better at my job. Within 6 months, I'd streamlined 3 major processes and saved the company almost $2 million. Michelle told me I was the best hire she'd ever made. That's when things shifted. It was subtle at first. Her hand on my shoulder during a presentation, texts after hours about non-work stuff, articles she thought I'd find interesting, restaurants she wanted to try. She started asking about my personal life, my marriage, whether Lauren and I were happy. I told her we were. It was true, mostly. We'd hit a plateau, that comfortable phase where you're more roommates than lovers. But we were fine. Good even. Michelle told me she envied that. Said that she'd been divorced for 5 years and couldn't find anyone who understood her. The dating pool at 41 was brutal, especially when you're a woman in a senior leadership position. Men found her intimidating. She was lonely. She said that part quietly, like admitting a weakness, and something in me wanted to fix it for her. The affair started on a Thursday night 14 months ago. We'd stayed late to finish a presentation for the board meeting the next morning. Everyone else had gone home hours earlier. It was just us in her office, laptops open, takeout containers scattered across her desk. We'd been working for 10 hours straight, and we were both punchy and exhausted. And somewhere around 11 p.m., she looked at me and said, "You know what I appreciate about you, Jason? You don't treat me like I'm made of glass." I didn't know how to respond to that, so I just said, "Why would I?" Most men do. They either resent me for being in charge, or they're so worried about offending me that they can't function. You're just yourself. It's refreshing. There was something in her voice, something vulnerable and open that I'd never heard before. We were sitting close, both leaning over her laptop screen, and I could smell her perfume, something expensive and subtle. She turned her head and suddenly we were inches apart, and I could see this look in her eyes that made my stomach drop. "Michelle," I said, my voice coming out rougher than I intended, "we shouldn't—" "I know," she said, but she didn't move away. Neither did I. I can't even tell you who kissed who first. All I know is that 1 second, we were colleagues working late, and the next second, I had her pressed against her desk, her hands in my hair, kissing her like I was drowning and she was air. It was desperate and wrong and so intense I couldn't think straight. We had sex right there on her desk, scattered the laptop and papers everywhere. It was fast and rough and nothing like the careful, familiar sex Lauren and I had. When it was over, we both just stood there, breathing hard, reality crashing back in waves. "Oh God," Michelle said, pulling her shirt back on with shaking hands. "Jason, I'm so sorry. That was completely inappropriate. I'm your boss. I should never have—" "I kissed you back," I said. "This wasn't just you." We stood there in her wrecked office, both of us trying to process what we'd just done. I was married. She was my boss. We worked in the same building as my wife. This was a catastrophe on every possible level. "This can't happen again," she said firmly, like she was chairing a meeting. "We're going to pretend this never happened. We'll be professional, and we'll never speak of it." "Agreed," I said. I went home that night and climbed into bed next to Lauren, who was asleep facing the wall. I lay there for hours staring at the ceiling, convinced I was the worst person alive. I told myself it was a mistake, a one-time thing, stress and proximity and bad judgment. It would never happen again. It happened again 3 days later, and then again the following week. And then it just became what we did. We'd find excuses to work late or meet early or schedule meetings in her office with the door locked. We were careful, obsessively careful. We never arrived together, never left together. We deleted all texts immediately. We never touched in public. To everyone else, we were just the boss and her direct report. Maybe a little more friendly than average, but nothing suspicious. The lies to Lauren started small. Have to stay late for a client call. Michelle wants to review the quarterly reports. Team dinner with ops. She never questioned it. Why would she? I'd never given her a reason not to trust me. She was busy with her own career, her own deadlines. When I came home at 10 p.m. saying I'd been working, she believed me. Because of course she did. We were Jason and Lauren. We told each other everything. Except now I was lying to her every single day. "Do you love her, Lauren?" I thought about that for a long time. I don't know anymore. I used to. I think I still do in a way, but it's different than what we have. What do we have? I don't know that either. She turned to look at me, propped up on one elbow. "I'm in love with you. You know that, right?" My stomach dropped. We'd never said those words. We'd been careful to keep it physical, or at least pretend we were. But hearing her say it out loud made everything more real and more terrifying. "Michelle, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. I'm 41 years old, Jason. I don't have time to pretend I don't feel what I feel. I love you. I know it's complicated and messy and probably impossible, but it's true." I should have ended it right then. I should have told her I couldn't do this anymore, that I needed to figure out my marriage, that we were destroying multiple lives, including our own. But instead, I kissed her and told her I loved her too, because I did. I was in love with two women at the same time, and I was destroying both of them. The company started restructuring 6 months ago. Budget cuts, department mergers, the usual corporate consolidation. Michelle was safe, VPs always are, but there were rumors that marketing and operations might be combined under one senior director, which meant Lauren and I might end up on the same floor, same hallway, possibly adjacent offices. The thought made me physically ill. Michelle and I started talking about what we'd do if that happened. We'd have to stop, obviously. We couldn't keep this up if Lauren was that close. Unless I left Lauren. Unless I just came clean, blew up my marriage, and chose Michelle instead. Would you? Michelle asked me one night. We were in our hotel room, the question hanging in the air like smoke. Would I what? Leave her. For me. I didn't answer right away. I should have said no immediately. I should have told Michelle that I was committed to my marriage, that this was just an affair and nothing more. But the truth was, I'd been thinking about it. I'd been imagining a life where I didn't have to sneak around, where I could just be with Michelle openly. No more lies, no more hotel rooms, just us. I don't know if I could do that to her, I said finally. Michelle's face hardened. But you can do this to her? You can cheat on her 3 times a week, lie to her every single day, but leaving her honestly is too much? That's not fair. None of this is fair, Jason. Not to her, not to me, not to anyone. But you need to make a choice, because I can't keep being the other woman forever. The affair became its own kind of relationship. Michelle and I would text constantly about work, about our days, about stupid things we saw or thought about. We'd meet for coffee before work under the guise of prep meetings. We started having inside jokes, the kind that couples have. I knew she liked her coffee black with exactly 1 sugar. She knew I had a scar on my left shoulder from a skateboarding accident in high school. We talked about our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. In some ways, I was closer to Michelle than I'd been to anyone in years, including my wife. The near misses started about 4 months in. The first one was in the parking garage. I was leaving Michelle's car after we'd spent our lunch hour in the back seat like teenagers. I was adjusting my tie, trying to look normal, when I thought Lauren walking toward us with her coworker Sarah. Michelle and I were on opposite sides of the garage by then, but my heart was hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. Lauren waved, asked if I wanted to grab lunch. I told her I had already eaten at my desk. She smiled, said she'd see me later, kept walking. I stood there shaking, convinced she knew, but she didn't even look back. The second near miss was worse. Lauren needed help with a presentation and asked if I could come to her floor. I was in Michelle's office at the time. Michelle's shirt was unbuttoned. We heard Lauren's voice in the hallway outside talking to Michelle's assistant about scheduling. We both froze, staring at each other in absolute terror. Michelle frantically buttoned her shirt while I hid in her private bathroom, pressed against the door, barely breathing. I heard Lauren's voice getting closer, asking if Michelle had seen me. Michelle lied smoothly, said I'd left for a meeting 10 minutes ago. Lauren thanked her and left. I stood in that bathroom for 5 full minutes after, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the doorknob. We should have stopped then. That should have been the wake-up call. But instead, we just got more careful. We started using a hotel 2 blocks from the office. We'd book it under Michelle's name, go separately, different entrances, 3 times a week, like clockwork. Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday afternoons. I'd tell Lauren I had site visits or vendor meetings. She'd wish me luck, kiss me goodbye, go about her day completely unaware that I was spending my lunch hour in bed with my boss. The guilt was eating me alive, but I couldn't stop. Being with Michelle felt like waking up after years of being half asleep. She challenged me, excited me, made me feel seen in ways I hadn't felt since college. With Lauren, everything was comfortable and predictable. We had our routines, our scripts. With Michelle, everything felt dangerous and alive. I know how that sounds. I know I'm blaming my wife for my choice to cheat, but that's not what I'm doing. Lauren didn't do anything wrong. She was the same woman I married, kind and smart and beautiful. The problem was me. I was the one who wanted something different. I was the one who chose to betray her trust. I was the one who looked at the comfortable life we'd built and decided it wasn't enough. 8 months into the affair, Lauren started talking about having kids. She'd bring it up over breakfast, casually, like she was mentioning vacation plans. I think I'm ready. I think we're ready. And I'd nod and agree and feel like absolute scum. Because how could I bring a child into this? How could I be a father while I was spending 3 afternoons in a hotel room with another woman? I told Michelle about it one Thursday afternoon. We were lying in bed at the Marriott, that post-sex haze where everything feels both too real and not real enough. She went very quiet. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I don't know." "You can't have a baby with her, Jason. Not while we're—" She stopped, like she couldn't say the word. "I know." We didn't talk for 3 days after that. I went through work like a zombie, avoiding Michelle's floor, sending emails instead of visiting her office. Lauren asked if I was okay. I told her I was stressed about work. Another lie in an endless parade of lies. Then Michelle texted me, "We need to talk, tonight." I met her at the hotel at 7 p.m. She was already there, sitting on the edge of the bed, still in her work clothes. She looked tired and sad and beautiful, and I knew before she said anything that this was the end. "I can't do this anymore," she said. "I thought I could. I thought being with you part-time was enough, but it's not. I'm 41 years old and I'm in love with a married man who can't decide if he wants me or his wife. This is killing me." "Michelle, please. I'm not asking you to choose right now. I know that's not fair. But Jason, I need you to think seriously about what you want. Because if you can't leave her, then we need to end this completely. No more meetings, no more texts, no more pretending we're just colleagues with benefits. I need to move on with my life." "I love you," I said, and I meant it. "I know you do, but love isn't enough if you're not willing to actually be with me." She stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked to the door. Then she turned back. "You have 2 weeks. Figure out what you want. If you decide to stay with Lauren, I'll accept it and we'll find a way to work together professionally. But if you want to be with me, really be with me, then you need to tell her the truth. You need to end your marriage, because I'm done being your secret." She left. I sat in my hotel room for 2 hours, staring at nothing, trying to figure out how my life had become this nightmare. That was 3 weeks ago. I still haven't made a decision. I go to work every day, sit in meetings with both Michelle and Lauren sometimes, and feel like I'm being torn in half. Michelle won't meet my eyes anymore. She's polite and professional and distant, and it's killing me. Lauren keeps asking when we can schedule a fertility consultation, and I keep making excuses. Last Friday was the company's annual gala, black tie event, mandatory attendance for senior staff. Lauren was excited. She'd bought a new dress, got her hair done, was actually looking forward to it. I was dreading it because I knew Michelle would be there, and I knew I'd have to watch her from across the room all night while pretending everything was normal. We arrived together, Lauren holding my arm, talking about her latest campaign. Michelle was already there, stunning in a navy gown, talking to the CEO. She glanced at me once, just once, and I saw everything I was losing in that look. The evening was torture. I danced with Lauren while watching Michelle dance with some guy from finance. I made small talk with coworkers while Michelle laughed at someone else's jokes 20 feet away. At one point, Lauren leaned against me and said, "I'm really happy, you know? I feel like we're in a good place right now." I wanted to throw up. Around 10 p.m., I went to the bathroom to escape for a minute. When I came out, Michelle was in the hallway, clearly waiting for me. "We need to stop meeting like this," I said, trying for humor and failing. "Have you decided?" she asked. No preamble, no small talk. "Michelle, Yes or no, Jason? Are you leaving her?" I looked back toward the ballroom, where Lauren was probably looking for me, wondering where I'd gone. My wife of 9 years, the woman who trusted me completely, the woman I'd been lying to for 18 months. Then I looked at Michelle, the woman who told me she loved me, The woman who'd given me an ultimatum. The woman who deserved more than being someone's secret. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I love you both. I don't know how to choose." Something in her face crumbled. "That's choosing, Jason. Not deciding is deciding. You're choosing her by default because you're too much of a coward to leave." "That's not fair." "Stop saying that. Nothing about this is fair. I put my heart on the line. I told you what I needed, and you're standing here telling me you don't know after 18 months? I need more time." "You're out of time." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "I'm done, Jason. We're done. I gave you a chance to choose me, and you couldn't do it. So that's your answer. Go back to your wife. Build your perfect little life. Have your kids. And I'll figure out how to stop being in love with you." She walked away. I stood in that hallway, staff and executives moving past me, the sounds of the gala continuing behind closed doors, and I realized I'd just lost her, really lost her. And the worst part was I still couldn't bring myself to go home and tell Lauren the truth. I went back into the ballroom, found Lauren talking with some people from her department. She lit up when she saw me, grabbed my hand, pulled me into the conversation. I smiled and nodded and pretended to be present while my entire world was falling apart. We went home that night, made love for the first time in 3 months. Lauren fell asleep in my arms, happy and content, completely unaware that I just lost the other woman I loved. I lay there staring at the ceiling, hating myself more than I thought possible. It's been 4 days since the gala. Michelle and I haven't spoken except for necessary work emails. She's cold and professional, and I deserve every second of it. Lauren's been talking about baby names. She showed me pictures of nursery she likes. She's glowing with this future she sees for us, and I can't bring myself to tell her that I've spent the last year and a half destroying that future brick by brick. I don't know what I'm going to do. Part of me thinks I should come clean, blow up my marriage, face the consequences of what I've done. Lauren deserves the truth. She deserves better than a husband who's been cheating on her with his boss in the same building where she works. But another part of me thinks I should just bury this. Michelle's moved on. If I confess now, I'll destroy Lauren for no reason except to ease my own guilt. What good does that do? She'll lose her husband and her job in one blow. Our mutual friends will have to choose sides. And for what? So I can feel better about myself? So instead, I'm doing nothing. I'm going to work every day, avoiding Michelle's floor, lying to my wife about why I seem distant lately. I'm carrying this secret and letting it rot inside me because I'm too much of a coward to either keep the woman I love or tell the woman I married the truth. That's the real confession, isn't it? Not that I had an affair. Lots of people have affairs. The real confession is that I'm still lying, still choosing neither woman really, still protecting myself at everyone else's expense. This morning, Lauren asked if I was okay. She said I seemed different lately, stressed or sad. She put her hand on my face and asked if there was something she should know, if there was something wrong with us. And I looked into her eyes. This woman who's loved me for over a decade, who trusts me completely, who's planning our future together. And I lied right to her face. "I'm fine," I said. "Just work stuff, nothing to worry about." She believed me. She kissed me and told me she loved me and went to make coffee. And I stood there knowing that I'd just chosen my path. I'm going to keep lying. I'm going to let Michelle go. I'm going to build a life with Lauren based on deception and hope she never finds out what kind of person I really am. Is that the right choice? I have no idea, but it's the choice I'm making because I'm not brave enough to do anything else. Michelle was right about one thing. Not deciding is deciding. And I've decided to be a coward. I've decided that my comfort is more important than anyone's truth. I've decided that I can live with this guilt if it means I don't have to face the consequences of my actions. 3 weeks from now, Lauren and I have an appointment with a fertility specialist. She's so excited about it. She keeps talking about our future kids, what they'll look like, what we'll name them, and I sit there and smile and pretend I deserve to be anyone's father when I can't even be honest with the woman I married. That's my confession. Not just that I had an affair, but that I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to let Michelle hate me. Let her think I chose Lauren when the truth is I didn't choose anyone. I just chose myself, my safety, my comfort, my cowardice. And the worst part, I'll probably live with this just fine. The guilt will fade, life will go on, Lauren will never know, Michelle will eventually find someone else, and I'll be the guy who had it all, the wife, the kids, the career, and nobody will know that it's all built on 18 months of lies. So there it is, the full truth. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I don't deserve it. I'm not asking for advice, it's too late for that. I'm just saying it out loud, finally, to someone, because I can't carry it completely alone anymore, and I can't tell anyone who actually knows me. I had an affair with my boss. My wife works at the same company. She still doesn't know. And if I have my way, she never will. That's the man I am. That's the choice I made. And I'm going to have to live with it for the rest of my life.